No comments from the peanut gallery. Alrighty. So, without further ado, this morning we have LibFree and Tag. Come on up, Tag. Tell us all about what you got going on.
I am Tag, this is Vishwa, and we also have a Rishi and a Varun. We're all engineers. I'm a mathematician. He is an electrical engineer, and Rishi and Varun are a mechanical engineer and computer scientist. So, in today's world, people really don't get to do what they want, whenever they want, all the time, and the way we've been automating technology really hasn't been making it easier for people. It's just been giving people more work. And so, what our goal for us is to automate what you hate so that you can live what you love. And that's the goal of LibFree. Now, I'm sure many of you guys cut your own grass or pay other people to cut grass. Nobody really enjoys it if you're saying. So our focus right now for automation purposes is to bring automated lawn mowing to the everyday person regardless of your income. And we're doing this on two fronts. One, we're creating our own product based on a hovercraft. And then the second part is we're going to be the Uber of automated lawnmowers by purchasing automated lawnmowers and renting it out. So, so that's a general idea of what it'll look like. This is actually more complicated than what it looks. I oversimplified it. It's going to have like the engine in the volume or in the sphere, and it's going to push all aluminum, and then the gray part is actually a blade that's going to be in the inside. You will not be able to cut yourself with it. Now, any engineer will tell you that this format is not the best possible engineering design, but it's definitely good enough, and for multiple reasons. For starters, it can work through, in wet weather, it's more resistant than what we have now. It also doesn't leave marks or endanger wildlife. And another part is manufacturing in the United States, manufacturing period is very, very expensive for a startup. This is based off of using parts from an actual electric fan. If you got it, tilted it sideways, and then have it go across your yard. This means that we can easily contract with fan companies in order to lower startup costs for us. So, and then last thing for this, so we took a very mathematical approach to this with parametric modeling. So instead of, if we say we have to tweak X, Y, Z on it, instead of doing everything from scratch, if we change one parameter and everything that follows it along changes the parameter with it. It's wonderful software that we're using for that, and remember that. So for this is what we're going to do is we're going to actually be cutting grass ourselves and trying to automate whatever we can, and also contracting out with other existing lawn care businesses in order to speed up the process. A benefit of having an automated lawnmower versus what we have now is these are quiet, they're electric. They can also work during the night, so that means that they can work during the nighttime. And again, these are very expensive for an individual to purchase, but typically the everyday person doesn't mow their grass 24/7. This is something that, okay, we mow your grass, we try to get it somewhere else. So this is our expected revenue per month. We have five different types of revenue. Two of them are software that we're going to be doing before we start in March cutting. One is we're creating a form building software just because we can make some money, startup money in the beginning. And then the software that we're using to make the actual lawnmower, the parametric modeling, there's not really that great of software out there. We're going to try to make it better and then contract out and then start selling that. We're expecting about 990. Yeah.
What are the values on the Y scale? We can't see that.
Oh, sorry about that. So those are 10,000, 20,000, and 30,000, and it's supposed to be in dollars.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you project it? Like what?
For the so like for the form building software, there's like we looked at how many lawyers we are and there are. If we sell it for $9.99 and we sell it to 100 lawyers.
$999?
No, $9.99.
Okay,
Oh yeah.
I don't know what you're talking.
What is
What are you selling for $9.99?
A form building software.
Okay.
So every time you have to fill out a form, lawyers really want that,
So
and
this has
apparently
nothing to do with lawn?
no, it's just startup.
Oh.
Just like Airbnb sold cereal when they started.
Okay, that's what I was.
So-
Okay. Thank
And then the drafting software is the thing that we use for parametric modeling that we're already being partially developed in the process of making our designs. We're also using personal income from the jobs that we have and will have over that time frame in order to fund it. And then the other two are individual contracts, which is when we cut a person's yard. We're not expecting to make a lot of money in the beginning, but this is based off of if we have 15 new customers a month, and those customers are, they cut on average 2 times a week for the entire lawn mowing season, which is 16 times. The other one is city contracts, which I'm putting a super low estimate on that because we don't have enough reputation for that. But what I would like to do is try to contract out with, ideally starting out small city, like public property and things like that, because they have a higher surface area and exposure to other people in the neighborhoods. And if they do it, more likely it's going to be easier to get our individual contracts. And then our gross revenue is on the right in the blue. Now, because of the nature of our business, it is very seasonal. But we'll be transitioning after the summer months is we're going to be doing more software, and ideally what we're going to be doing is trying to spread through the south because they have a longer growing season, especially in like humid areas like Florida. So this is how we're going to be splitting out our costs. 20% is going to be marketing. The SBA says that you should, average small business should spend 12% max, but typically around 7-8%. We really want, because we're contracting out with other businesses, we want to be able to really get our name out there, and marketing is important. In order to get new customers, in order to meet the demand of new customers, we're spending 50% of our revenue on equipment, and for pay, everything is commission. This is to drive motivation and make sure that we're doing the best we can, and we can pay our employees well. So pay, and that'll be 30%. Last part for the community is that we need to have, there's many ways that community can get involved. First of all, you can take my card. If you want to have your yard being cut by an automated lawnmower, but you don't want to fork the cost to buy $3,000 worth of equipment, we're for you. Also, for potential investors, we do have high startup costs. We're doing a lot of random things in order to meet that, and that's about it. So, any questions?
Million questions.
Yeah, you can keep that one. No, it's million cups. Million
Right. Okay, so first of all, it's a little bit unclear what it is you actually do for a living. So you do forms and you do lawnmower cutting, which seem very similar to me, except for all the differences as far as markets. And so why are you doing these two different things, completely different things?
So I have been working on a form building software before, and writing software.
Why are you doing both things? In other words, why don't you just need to focus on forms and the huge market for that, or lawnmower cutting and the huge market for that? It
Right.
seems weird to be doing them at the
Well,
same time.
so in January, I can't cut anyone's yard.
I understand.
So the thought is to focus on stuff that we can make a higher profit in before that.
Regarding the lawnmower business,
Yeah.
the landscaping business, I have a couple of questions. I guess I don't understand, I mean, I saw your prototype or your model up there.
Yeah.
Why it costs so much, $3,000, number one. And then,
Oh,
and then the other question I had, have you guys, I mean, I think it's a great idea. I'm a lazy guy and I wouldn't mind having something like this done for me, from, you know, just remotely. It's like a Roomba for outdoors. So, I guess, you know, I work with a lot of people who are in the landscaping business, and they are the people who have a lot of contracts right now. They've been, you know, for a lot of commercial buildings and cities and MoDOT and IDOT, transportation departments. I don't know whether this machine will be able to do that scale, but I would think that one of the models you should think about is possibly leasing it to those contractors, rather than selling it, because that way, you know, you've got an inroad already. You've already got someone who's got the contract with the city or the Department of Transportation or with commercial buildings or with the Monsantos of this world who have a lot of landscape and need to get it cut. So that's just a thought.
Yeah, so we are doing leasing for the automated lawnmowers that are already existing in the market. The product we're making will take us, once it's manufactured, it takes a lot in order to first get it prototyped
Sure.
and manufactured. But we've talked to experts, considering what it's based off, it should cost us, with the sensors, about $100 for us to make, and we can sell it for $400, which is lower than anything that's out there.
So where did you get 3,000 from, and what's
So,
the scale
right,
of this thing?
so the
Is it as big as the table or what?
The what?
What is the scale? How large is this machine?
So there's different sizes. So you have the Landroids, which are 7 inches wide, and they can only take out they have a smaller range, and they just dropped the price 34%. They're like $600. But the Husqvarna, which is much nicer, it cuts smoother, is $3,000. So for bigger yards, we want to try to, like with cities, we want to contract out with a Husqvarna.
Good morning, how are you? So my question here is, you described it as a Uber for your lawn, correct? So normally I like to mow my own lawn, but this week I've been too busy and I don't normally have a contract with someone, so I say, yeah, this week I'd just like to mow my lawn automated. And I'm on your app and I push the button, and this thing comes to my house and mows my lawn, right? For a fee. Is that correct?
Yes and no. So it can't go through the highway and streets.
It gets to my house.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it gets to my house, it knows my lawn, I pay on my app. I think that's really nice. How does it get to my house? Do you just pair with Uber and say, hey, Uber driver, you just pick this up and bring it to my house, and you're also driving people around and dropping off these lawnmowers?
So I'm connected to 2 lawn care businesses right now, Yankee Lawn Care and Allen Kim Lawn Care. What they'd be able to do is, maybe during nighttime or during the day, they can drop off the lawnmower there, and then they cut it. But someone still has to weed eat it. People might need to do arbor stuff or other kind of landscaping things.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay, so first off, I mean, your competition, you mentioned the Roomba, I mean, your competition is iRobot. Do they have anything along those lines? I mean, they're a big company.
Surprisingly, no.
Okay, that's good to know that.
We're taking, because everyone, when I talk about automated lawnmowers, they think of Roomba. They don't think of what's out there. The existing designs aren't very exciting for the everyday consumer. When you have something that's kind of like a hovercraft going through your yard that looks like a Roomba, I think that's definitely going to get people more excited.
Right. And I had a series of questions. The second one is,
I like questions.
you know what, I'm an organizer, I can do this.
He promised to make the hardest questions at Venture Cafe.
Okay, well, the second thing is, it's actually, I think it's good for now that you have people there, like, you know, kind of facilitating the whole thing. I kind of had this idea that like these just floating drones that would just drop down and mow your lawn, which would be really cool. But you know, 16-year-old Joe would have loved to go up and like kick one of those. So I mean, they're going to have to be. I mean, I'm sure you've thought about how much wear and tear, how much abuse these things could potentially take. I mean, my dogs would attack these things immediately. Yeah.
Well, so we're going to have to look at that. Big issue is when I talk to existing lawn care owners and things like that is when I'm trying to bid is just like Jeff Bezos didn't do anything new. He just said, hey, we're going to actually measure things and make good decisions based off that. So I know like it's not uncommon for people to just gauge how much they should charge by looking at it and stuff like that. So when we start out, it will be risky. We will not know what the expected lifetime is, but we will be doing it to keep track of stuff. And because it's being complemented by existing lawn care companies, the equipment side is risky, but lawn care itself isn't risky. No matter how you do, maybe you had a bad week or something, the grass keeps on growing.
Right. No, I think you're very smart to co-opt your competition.
Yeah.
I think that's very smart. My final comment was that I think you're actually selling it short by saying it's only going to cut lawns. I mean, you know, you equip this thing, it turns on its side, it could blow leaves, couldn't it? I mean, if it's using a fan-like motion, it could blow leaves in the fall. You could clean off, you know, driveways in the winter. You know, so I mean, this thing could actually be.
Yeah, that's landscapers say.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, here, you want the mic now?
I think you're missing a huge market with the consumer market.
All right.
I mean, think about it. You're talking about landscaping companies, which actually work with the mansions and stuff like that in the city. Well, what about all these millions of homes in the St. Louis area that need a lawn cut? Or like you said, the leaves blow. Or in the wintertime, man, not to be able to go outside and you know, do the snow, you got this automated snow blower. That's a consumer product. I really think you're missing the point.
Well, most of our money is through individual contracts. We're going to be contracting through cities because if the guy in the suit does it, then so should I mentality.
So I disagree with James 100%. I think by far your biggest market is the lawn care companies, and their biggest issue, and I have some friends in the industry, and maybe you guys, is the employees. Is the employee doesn't show up, and who's going to cut the lawn, who's going to do the trimming. So my first question for you is, and so if you can get the cost of doing my lawn down to $20 instead of $35 or whatever they charge me, and I don't have a very big lawn, you know, I'm willing to do the deal, right? I'm happy with that. And then you get an entire neighborhood, and you just simply cut the entire neighborhood all at one time.
Yeah.
Not one lawn at a time.
My goal is to see, I never want someone to cut grass unless if they really want to.
So one of the things that I would suggest for your presentation, what automated cars are looking at is that we currently use our cars for about 4% of the time. Automated cars will take that to 90%. Similarly for my lawnmower, goodness gracious, what do I use it? 1% of the time? Not even? Maybe. Yeah, an eighth of 1%, I don't know, whatever it is, some teeny tiny percentage. So you take every single lawnmower out there and I turn it from 1/8 to 96%. And I can do that for $15 a lawn. I mean, on average, depending on the size of lawns. It's the lawn care companies are going to own that because they don't have to worry about the employee doesn't show up. At $15, everybody's going to do it. Nobody's going to own a lawnmower and pay for the gas and wash around the road. And you could do entire neighborhoods all at one time. But your presentation has to know this so much more efficiently. We shouldn't have to ask this question. You should, at the very beginning, tell us what is the problem that everybody cares about. It took you forever for us to even understand what your business was. Either pick the form business or pick the lawnmower business and go with that and run with that business, because halfway through the question, Luis had asked you, had to ask, what are you talking about? If we have to ask, what are we talking about, then you've lost us in your presentation. So I'm talking more about your presentation than your
I
business.
understand it.
Right, so
Yeah.
pick your business. I think the lawnmower model, if you can actually figure out how to not to cut down all my flower beds, right? Because I mean, for me, that's the biggest issue is how does this thing know? A Roomba knows because it hits the wall. It hits a piece of furniture. I mean, it hits stuff. It doesn't know the wall is there. It hits the wall and turns. How does your thing know where the grass stops and my flower bed starts, and you don't just start cutting down my petunias? Because if that happens, I'm going to be really, really ticked off.
So there's two approaches to what they've been doing. They've been using fencing, which is
That's another question. How do you get through my tape?
I'm not a big fan of that. So what we're gonna do, so like I'm part of OpenSTL. It's not difficult to use software to track how everything's laid out, especially in a city. So the goal is to have an app where you can download it on your phone. Click, after you become a customer, you say, all right, click, and then you actually scan around your yard. And then it'll keep that in a database.
So actually, so I sign up for the service,
Mhm.
$20 to do my lawn. The guy who's going to
Well, you'll get the app for free.
Right, but what would make sense to me is that the guy who owns the thing comes out and scans my yard. So he enters it in, and then he can do the next yard, 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 and then my entire neighborhood.
I'll look that up.
I mean, because that would make a lot
Yeah.
more sense than, because I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm 57, I get that this is an easy app to use, but I'm not going to do this. I'm just
Yeah.
not. But the guy who owns the system that is cutting my lawn,
Yeah.
that person has a motivation to make sure he doesn't cut my petunias down. Now, they're not mine. They're my wife's petunias, and that's even worse. You cut my wife's petunias down.
One other thing that, I'm sorry, so,
Oh, yeah, hey.
come see me later.
All right.
So, you're basically an engineering house. You know,
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think your better chance of survival is if you have a really good design for this new lawnmower, is to patent that and license it out to Husqvarna or iRobot. Because, I mean, the big problem is your business model depends on manufacturing a device, and the Chinese are just going to destroy you. I mean, look on Amazon, see how many iRobot competitors are there that are half or a third the price. There are dozens. You're better off like coming up with a killer design and just licensing it out and just reaping in the money and then work on your next cool project. Because having someone manufacture it, they're going to, as soon as this hits the net, the Chinese are going to go, oh, we can make that for a third the price.
Right.
And then they don't care about copyrights or patents.
So our goal isn't, we're not making most of the money. The revenue that I showed did not show any money made from the actual automated lawnmower. The revenue was simply the service. If I can get something cheaper from China, I'm willing to do it because I think that's where the money will lead to faster growth. Second of all, you gave a very rational argument when you talked about patents. But like the St. Louis Federal Reserve has said, oftentimes, in the majority of the time, patents really aren't good for small businesses. Not only do we not have legal help, if someone were to steal it, it costs a lot of money to actually do something in court, and I can't stop them from manufacturing. I can only get royalties, and it's usually not fair. And I just don't, and it's long, slow, I just don't want to focus on that. Because I have gotten a professional patent, and I've studied it, and it's, again, it's a very rational argument, but it's not empirically sound.
Okay, they've been very, very nice. I want to say because like, I really want you to succeed.
Thank you.
The thing is like, you don't have a business.
Yeah.
Legitimately. Like 100%, we're all business people here. You don't have a business, you don't have a model. The model, like, it doesn't even matter like what the technology is. It could be regular lawnmowers, right? Like, you know, that's where you actually really need to start if you're talking about building this business. If you can do it with regular lawnmowers, you can do it with any type of lawnmowers. So the model is what's important. Like that's the lifeline of your business. Don't worry about the technology. Who cares about that, right? So
I agree.
The thing is, like, what you need to focus on is building that model, getting around people like Louise, like you need to see Louise as soon as this thing is over, and actually figure that part out. You know, and because, like, yeah, you need a business, you know, and there's no reason why you shouldn't be making money off your technology or licensing it or whatever, you know, legitimately. So please build a business.
Okay, wise words. And so I think, I mean, you guys talked a little bit about what the community can do for you, but as we always like to end with one more opportunity. Is there anything else you wanted to ask of the community or put out there that they can do to help you that you haven't gotten yet this morning? Or are you good?
Well, he walked away.
Oh, James walked away?
What?
No, who walked away?
Oh, it's fine. I'll talk to you later.
No, I
He has a question though.
I had a question, but if you can't, just drop by my office.
He's
here.
got office hours afterwards,
I need
so.
to talk to you about a business
What,
plan and other things.
Yeah.
We've got one. But some of these comments, like these guys said, I mean, we're trying to help you, and I think some of these comments were really good. You answered some of them, but
Yeah.
Okay, Joe has one more question.
No, and it's more of a comment. I want to just follow what Louise said. I mean, you actually have a really cool idea and there's a lot of ways you could go about this, and so don't take this as people are like, you know, spitting on your idea. 'Cause
I
it's
actually
actually
think it's
very
great.
fascinating, and that's why we're all so animated about it. You know, I mean, I think that's what I want you to take from it, because I don't want you to feel like we're just like, you know, beating you up. So please.
Oh, no.
Okay.
No.
So, anyway, well, thank you so much for coming and sharing this morning.